Hey, we're back in the spray booth today. I put aside my chores I'm supposed to do at home today to try to get this wrapped up. So I showed you last night doing the texture on here. I just a little while ago sealed it with some Carlon matte finish just for the next step. So basically we're going to try to recreate a look of concrete here, and it's not too hard to do actually. Just a few simple techniques, and what I need to do is I need to take my surfacer. I'm not going to use the 500. I'm actually going to use 1200 because I need my base color, which is the surfacer. So I'm going to take that same stuff. It's just a finer primer. So I'm going to get some of this, and I'm basically going to use this as my base color. Since that's what I already have down, I'm going to just add blacks and whites to this and sponge on a random pattern of this. So I'm just mixing it up like I did yesterday. Make sure it's well mixed. Like that. I'm going to get a little mixing cup. I can use the same one I used yesterday actually. I'm just going to pour a little bit of this in here. I'm not going to thin it at all. I'm just going to leave it as is. Like that. Actually, we'll put a little bit more in there because the sponge is going to soak up quite a bit. So there's some of that. Put this to the side. And I'm just going to take some black right here. And need to clean my mixer a little bit. I don't want to turn my black paint into gray paint. I have some paper towels in here somewhere. I can use a scrap one. Basically, we're just going to be sponging on the other colors. And then I'll probably be doing a wash at the end, just to get some different tonalities throughout. Just so it's not just gray tones. Alright, so I'm just going to mix up this black a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit to my base. There we go. Mix that up. I got kind of have a medium gray here. And maybe do a little bit more black. Don't turn that on while you're pouring; it'll go everywhere. There we go. Alright, so we're going to take this. We're going to sponge that on. I like to use natural sponges. So I just, get those at, get them at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I've tried using, like, fake sponges, but I like those natural sponges because the patterns are more random. It's easier to get a more random look. You can see these have been used before and it's okay. Doesn't matter. Yeah, since this is a big surface, I'm going to get like a couple sponges. I can actually do this with two hands. And the more random, the better. So basically, and I also need a kind of a scrap piece. I'm just going to take my sponge, dip it in there lightly. Basically, just going to go in here and do this. The more random, the better. I need the sponge has got like more surface area. This is such a big surface. This may do good. And I'll probably have to mix some more of this up because being a sponge, I'll soak this up pretty good. Just do it lightly. If this was a smaller base, I'd make this pattern a little smaller, but since this is the size it is, I'm just going to do this. So again, I'm going to throw this on time lapse because again, this is a step that takes a little while, but this is kind of the idea right here. Okay, so that was pretty quick, and as you can kind of tell already, we are starting to kind of get the look we want. But this is the very first step in many. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a new cup, and I'm going to take that same base color, the surfacer, and I'm going to add white to it. So I'm going to get some surfacer. And I'm going to add some white to it. There's the surfacer. That. Again, this is 1200. It's got a slight texture. Now, this will actually add more texture to it, which is kind of nice side effect of what we're doing. And we'll get some white. Clean off my stir stick here. Still can't see the cracking, all that cracking I did yesterday, but don't worry, we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. Again, we're just laying down. Still laying down groundwork. I'm just stirring up my white paint over here. See what that looks like. Ooh. A little more. It's pretty bright. I'm stirring it over here because I kind of flung paint everywhere. Okay, so now we got white, or a light gray going on. Put lids on everything. And this is the same process, just with this color now. So I'll do a little bit in real time, and then we'll put on time lapse. So I'm going to use a different sponge. Is this one easy? I use a different sponge so we have a different pattern. Let's see. If I get something on there, it's no big deal. You just sponge it on. The more, actually in this process, the more mistakes and the more oops, the better, because it looks more random. So this is a process that you really don't, you want to be random. You don't want to be real, you have to be real careful about it. So now we're just adding another layer, a little brighter one. We have to mix more of this up because there we go. If you get too much in one area, just put your sponge into a clean area. I got a big blob right there, and just kind of dab it like this, and that actually does a nice job of kind of melding everything together. Like right here, that is like perfect right there. It all kind of melts together. It's a little speckly. Kind of a nice little trick I just figured out. You put a little bit too much on, then blend it. But like right here, that's looking really, really freaking good. I'll blend it. So again, I'll put this on a time lapse as I do this, but this is looking pretty good so far. We're getting there. here we go. Okay, so now we're starting to look like something. It's looking good. So that's basically that step for the sponging. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to add those little speckles. So I need to go get a brush and 2 more tools. I'll be right back. Okay, the next step what we're going to do is we're going to add some splattering to this, some black and white. Just have some black acrylic in my cup. I have a flat brush. It's semi-rigid. It's not super rigid. So I dip it in my cup. I take most of it off. And I'm basically going to take this and I'm going to tap it on my ruler, and we're going to add the splatters like you would have. And just kind of, again, randomly. Don't want too much of this. It's kind of like this. I should take a little more paint off at first. I like the smaller splatters. Or the big ones, but it's okay. It's supposed to be kind of random anyway. Oh, I forgot to mention when I did when I added the white nice sponge, I didn't hit the edge, the outside edge. I did it with the darker gray, but I didn't do it with the lighter gray. So I'm going to keep that darker. Okay, so a little more paint. First, I'm going to do it over here first. Get rid of the big stuff. So I kind of now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use white. So I'm going to clean this brush out. And that will basically give us our concrete, kind of like our base. Our base that we're going to do everything else off of. Because right now it's still looking, you can't see the cracking I did or anything, but this, again, this is just the very first of many, many layers. It's like a little white. It's actually a little off-white. It's not pure white. Where did my lid go for that one? There it is. Clean this brush out real quick. I need this cleaner. Okay. I'm not going to worry about my brush 100% clean. I just want to get most of the black out. Should have dried off pretty good. I had a little paper towels in here, and I don't have any anymore. All right, same thing. Ruler, a little bit of white. I'm going to do it over here to the side. Get the big stuff off. Not sure if that showed up in camera, but So far, all the grays I used earlier were lacquer. This is an acrylic paint, so once I'm done with this step, I'll seal it. I haven't sealed it yet because it's all been lacquer. Again, as it now, it's all a little bit jarring, but it's going to get buried beneath a bunch of other tones as I go. But this gives a really nice base for the next steps coming up. Not take too much off. My poor camera's got paint all over it. All right. I'm actually going to go where I kind of got a little too much of black spattering. I can hit those a little heavier, kind of minimize those a little bit. I can always go back and sponge some more gray on top if I want, which I may do. I got a couple of big black splatters I'm not real happy about. So I can kind of bury them. That's fine. Yeah, actually, it works pretty good if I just do that. Just give them another layer. Yeah, that just looks pretty good. Doing that, just kind of burying those big splecks, the big specks underneath this. So they commented on my last video that I don't charge enough. I should charge $2,000 to do this guy. I don't think that's $2,000 is probably a high. No one would pay that to have a paint job done. I've been quoting $1,000. That's without any modifications. That's just straight build and paint. If you do something like this, it's going to add another $300 pretty quickly. Again, I'm just going in here and kind of hitting these big black specks that I got a little too much black. I'm not digging too much. It's kind of an annoying noise, but okay, cool. This looks pretty nice. Nice space to start layering other tones on top of. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to go ahead and seal this under some of that Krylon mat. Clean up the brush again real quick. You know, a little bit at least. As I mentioned, I'm not real careful with my brushes. I buy cheap brushes. Even if I have to buy a new set of cheap brushes per big project, it's like $10. It's like, yeah, whatever. Okay. So I'm going to seal this with the Krylon mat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and I'll probably do a wash. Start doing some washes. And that's when you start to see some of that cracking I did. So the color will tone down. It's still too bright. It looks like brand new concrete. We don't want that. So I'll start doing some washes on it, and then I can wash this. I got to do some shading with the airbrush. Probably what I'll do is I'll also put Hulk back on the base with his feet covered up. So I want to do kind of a shadow around his foot. You know, where his feet go, just so there's a little bit of shading there. Because right now you can't see anything. It just looks like all the same kind of concrete tone. So I'm going to seal it, and I'll come back. Okay, so next up in this, after I sealed it, is it's obviously really gray. I'm going to go through and I'm going to lightly, randomly spray some transparent tones on here. I've got like a nicotine yellow, burnt sienna, black green, rich brown, and cocoa brown. So I'm just going to go in there, basically kind of stain it a little bit because we don't want it to look too clean. You know, no one wants that. I'm just going to clean it in my airbrush real quick. Script's working. Yep. Good. So I'm gonna start off with one of my favorites to stain like stone and concrete is transparent or the nicotine yellow. This is a Garage Kits .us color. This is kind of the same way I did the Batman prototype base. This is going to go from gray to some other color, but again, we'll bring it back. It's going back and forth, layering all these different tones up. So, you know, it kind of, sometimes I show clients a in progress photo, like, is that what it's going to look like? No, that's not what it's going to look like. That's just the progress. So basically, I just got this, and I'm just going to do this. And it's very light. I don't want to cover it all up. I just want to give this some tonality. In this case, I will hit the edges and everything. Too much stuff in the spraying area. Not to mention a camera. I don't know if it's picking up, but you can see it's just shifting the tone again. Again, we're just constantly shifting colors around, not really changing them. It's okay if you get heavy in one area. It's okay. We want to try to make it look random. We don't want it to look like I just came out here and sprayed a bunch of transparent yellow on this thing. So it's looking pretty good right there. We shifted a little bit towards the yellow color. Now I'm not even worried about cleaning out my airbrush. I don't want to go too dark. Let's see, transparent. Black green is a good one. I'm almost out of this. I should have placed an order before the new year because Jesse just raised the prices on his paints. I'm not sure if it was 75 cents or $1. I don't remember. I had a whole cart full of paints before the new year and I just forgot to hit the checkout button. So this is transparent black green again from GarageKits.us. Got my trusty Badger Renegade Chrome, which is one of my favorite airbrushes I own. I own several of these. I think I have I own at least 3, maybe 4. I just love them. And the reason I have so many is because, again, I'm terrible about cleaning up my tools sometimes, and I'll forget to clean my airbrush. And if I'm in like full bore work mode, you know, I'll just pull out another airbrush instead of trying to clean the last one I forgot to clean. So it's just me being lazy. But they're an amazing airbrush. It feels really good in your hand. To me, in my opinion, it's Badger's best airbrush out of the ones I've used. So with the black green, I'm going to hit the edges a little harder because I want those to go a little darker. So I'm going to kind of spray that edge more than just randomness. Again, we want to have a delineation between what's supposed to be a dirt layer and the concrete layer. So when I go in and do the bottom layer, like the dirt, I'll probably do that all hand brush. There'll be a lot of dry brushing and sponging and stuff. So I'll probably be at my workbench. Probably do most of the watercolors too. I always say I love the Ghost watercolors. They're so forgiving. They're super easy to use. They're cheap. And they're easy. If you screw up, man, you just use water to clean it up. So this edge is looking really good already just by doing this. And this will probably more likely be like my shading color when I go in, if I have enough of it. If I don't have enough of this, I'll have to mix it up with Mr. Color. When I go in and like do all the shading on the cracks and stuff. So that looks pretty good there. So the next one I'm going to use is I'm going to use burnt sienna. Maybe a little too dark. We'll use burnt sienna. It's a nice warm tone. And again, I'm not even cleaning out my airbrush. I'm just letting all these colors mix together. Again, just the only problem I have with my chromes is every once in a while I'll get paint build up on the needle guard and it'll spatter. And I'm not sure what that's about. I need to call Mr. Ken Bagger about that and see what's going on with that. On something like this, it doesn't matter. It matters when you go and spray skin tone and you get a splatter. So I don't know if you can notice, but it kind of, this color right here kind of picked up in the crack there. It looks kind of cool. And again, I'm going to spray this kind of more on the edge here, a little heavier. And don't worry, this is getting all toned down, but I'll bring it back when I go back and do my dry brushing and stuff at the very, very end. It's kind of like Hulk. Started dark, we went light, and then we brought them back down. And you can see all those layers playing with each other on top, you know. See all those layers working together. It's much more effective than just spraying gray and like dry brushing. This is just going to give it a much more natural look. Actually, I'm hitting this. I like how this edge is kind of looking a little darker here, so I'm going to keep kind of doing that. It's randomly turning out that way. I'm going to keep doing that. That's looking pretty good. This piece right here, it's darker than the rest. That's a nice little happy accident. I may go back over this with the transparent yellow a little bit more. I really like what that was doing to it. But yeah, this burnt sienna is doing adding a nice dimension to this. A little more. Concentrate on the middle there a little bit, kind of where those cracks are. I'm way up high up here, so I don't want to like spray it. I just want to kind of blend it, fan it in there. So I'm way up. I'm about 8-10 inches above the surface here as I'm doing this. You can probably see it in the camera. It's wide enough. Okay, I like what that's doing. I'm going to add a little more of that transparent yellow. I'm way up here, way above the surface. I think after this, I'm going to seal it. I'm going to do a wash. I'm just going to go way down, but it's okay. So I'll bring it back up. Again, this is still, we're just kind of working on the base. Get this edge again with the transparent. It's giving me a nice kind of effect. I love how that piece looks right there. I love how that stands out. And it's kind of a nice little, again, happy accident. I'm just letting the paint do its thing. I'm not being real specific about it. Not yet. I'll go in there and I'll really hit the cracks and stuff because we want to see all that work and that effect. That's the whole purpose of this whole adventure, is to get that effect. So we want to make sure it stands out, but we're not to that point yet. But I think I'll have to, I'll go and initially do the cracks, and then I think I'll have to get the Hulk on there. Maybe do some shading around the feet. Of course, I'll have to cover them up pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to seal this. I like the way that's looking. Looking pretty darn good. If you ever use Jesse's paints, I suggest giving it a shot. I love them. It's like my go-to acrylic. My only crit is I have a hell of a time cleaning them. I mean, I'm using his cleaner straight from the bottle, straight out. This is not even reduced, and it doesn't want to come out of my airbrush. And actually, sometimes it actually acts like a lacquer cleaner sometimes, where it actually kind of, I don't know. I need to talk to him. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I can't even scrub it off the side of the cup of my brush. Now, you know, if I went to go spill it on a piece, on a painted piece, it'd probably come right off. But I can't get it out of my brush for the life of me. I mean, look at that. That's after using the cleaner straight. Still stuff in there. So I'm going to seal this again. Let it dry for a few minutes. And then I'm going to do an enamel wash on it. I'm going to go with my respirator. That Krylon stuff was nasty. Alright, so I'll come back when I do the wash. Okay, we're back. So now this is dried again, and now we're going to bring out some of this pretty detail that we have in here. So I've got a bunch of washes here. Not sure exactly which ones I'm going to use yet. Let me see all the different varieties I have. Okay, so I've got a yellow, got a dark brown, got dark gray, like 2 dark yellows, and I'm going to stay away from greens because we got Hulk that's green, and this is a sky gray. It's a panel line wash, but it does the same thing. So I'm probably going to use all 3 of these, but just in different areas. So for like, I think I'm going to start light to dark. So I've got this PLW Sky Gray. I'm not sure what PLW means. Probably something military, I'm sure. From Mega of Ammo. And just shake it up. These are all enamels. So this is kind of a... It's got a little green hue to it, but it's kind of hard to describe. It's grayish green. I don't want to go too green because we got a green Hulk. We got enough green going on. So I think we're going to start with this. And I think I'm just going to test it out. Let's see what this does. Again, a wash is you just kind of put it on. And then you kind of wipe it off. Now see, that got way down the crevice there, and I don't want that. And again, this is just a kind of a way to shift colors. Get some Q-tips. That's really not doing what I want. Let's see. I'm going to try it on a flat area. Let's see what it does. Yeah, it does a little bit. I'm just kind of do this randomly, I think. Again, just to kind of add some tonal variation. Not really. putting it everywhere. Putting that kind of rub it around. And this is really, again, just staining the surface still. So I basically put a little bit on. Just kind of do that. Yeah, I can see a difference now as it dries. And I just remember to have a certain thing I'm going to use for the dirt effect on the layer below the concrete. It's going to be really, really freaking cool. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with that one. I shifted it just a little bit. Oops. Got a little splatter. And this enamel, as soon as you kind of wipe it off, it dries pretty quick. I can just keep working. And this thing's got a lot of sealer. I actually took some of the, I rubbed a little hard there and took some of that off. It's actually okay. Because it, okay, this is dark brown. I'm going to put this in some of the cracks. Maybe this crack right here. See what that does. Maybe I should seal this next. Looks like I need to seal this again because I just beat it right up on top of that first wash. So I'm going to seal this again. One advantage of doing these techniques is there's a ton of sealer on your piece. So it's like, by the time it's done, it's like bulletproof because it's got like 12 layers of sealer on it. So I'm going to seal it again real quick and let that dry and do the next one. I thought I could go right on top of it, but apparently not. All right, on to the next wash. Now we're going to try to bring out some of this detail. I'm going to go ahead and use this dark gray and concentrate on the cracks and stuff, and let's see what this does. Hopefully it brings it out. It should. That's what it's supposed to do. So we're going to do a little test area right here. I'm going to fill them in pretty good. Now again, this is going to darken this whole thing down quite a bit, but it's okay. We're gonna bring it back. Yeah, there we go. Now you can see all that hard work I did yesterday. All that grinding and ooh, I don't want to spill the wash everywhere. That'd be bad. You guys can see that. And I'm going to hit the edges of the edges also. I want that to be nice and dark. I'm determined to knock this over. I'm going to hold it so I don't do that. I'm going to go ahead and put this on time lapse because I think this will take me a little while. So I got to really concentrate on where it's going, then we'll come back. Okay, well, I was having a hard time getting the wash into the cracks. They're really deep, and also it was beating up on me, meaning that there wasn't sealer on them. So this has gotten a lot darker than I initially wanted. It's okay. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to go back and do some of the kind of the stippling of the grays on top of this again real quick. And I'm just going to do it lightly, and that'll help bring out the cracks, because it's really, I think you saw me. I went in there individually with the thin brush. It's really hard getting those in there. So I'm going to get, again, my work area is a complete disaster, so I can't see anything or find anything. Looking for my mixing cups, which I don't know where they are right now. They're out here somewhere. I just can't see them because I got stuff everywhere. So I'm going to go back with some of that Surfacer 1200 and kind of do that again a little bit. So again, this is me kind of experimenting again. I'm just going to do it straight. And then if I need to go back and do the other tones, I'll do that. So let's see if this does what I need to do. So I have no idea if that last part recorded, so I'm doing it again. Anyway, I was stippling, it wasn't working. I went to take a little Mr. Color Thinner to get it off, and it kind of gave me this cool effect. So I'm going to do it over the whole base and see what it does. I'm just trying to get these cracks to stand out a little bit more. We'll get there eventually. It's just not working the way I wanted initially. So I'm going to put on time lapse and give this a shot. Okay, so I got the top the way I look. I think it looks pretty good. Looks like dirty, beat up concrete, which is kind of what we were going for. So now I just got to do this edge down here for the dirt. I'm still waiting to hear from Sonu if he likes the top. But I'm going to go ahead and move on down to that bottom part. And I forgot that I had my cool mud effects from the Captain America I did. So we're going to actually use some cool mud effects. Let's see what we got. Texture, oh, sorry. So I got a couple different muds here, and I'm actually going to use mud. This is a really great product if you've never used it before. Just get yourself a crappy brush. The crappier the better, because it's going to get ruined. And I'm going to start off with. So I'm going to start. Just leave that black. I'm going to start with. This is Europe Thick Mud. If you've never used this stuff before, it's basically, it actually looks like mud, and it dries pretty quick. So I've got a crappy brush here, and it's really easy to use. You just go in here and you just stipple it on like this. This brush may be actually too crappy. It's completely stiff. But again, it's just kind of, you're doing random patterns. I don't want to cover up all the black. We want to leave some of that there. And I want to stay beneath my, concrete top. I'm going to kind of keep that delineation. But this is, I got a crap load of compliments on the boots on my Captain America from the mud, and well, this is what I used. This Vallejo thick mud stuff. I was looking at YouTube videos on how to do it inexpensively, and you can mix your own stuff, but I was at the hobby store. You know what? For like $5 a jar, I'll give it a shot. And it's super easy. I don't have to mix anything up. It dries pretty quick. So yeah. So I'm going to do this color first. And I'll put this on time lapse, and I'll let this dry for a little bit. And then I'll come back and do the next color. Okay, so that was the European mud. And we're going to do, let's see what else I got. I see we've got splash mud and thick mud. We don't want to do splash mud. That's like for splashing effects. I'm going to go ahead and do the brown mud, I think. I don't need splash mud. Now I'm going to do the brown mud. Okay, so I went around the brown mud. I'm actually going to go back and go one more time with the European mud. I probably should have done the brown first and then the European just because I should have gone dark to light. And I went pretty sparingly with the brown, but I'm going to go back one more time with the European mud. And then what I'll do is I'll go back and kind of do just one band of the light mud so it looks like another layer of sediment down there. So that's what I'll do next. Okay, so that did the trick. I went in and just did that again. I'm going to get a smaller chip brush. I'm going to do the light mud. 1 second to find a crappy brush. Lots of crappy brushes. Now we're going to take the light mud. I'm kind of going to, this is kind of like a sandy mud. And I'm going to take this. I'm kind of just do a light application here. I'll probably have to go back over this again with the European mud just so it's not so bright. But I want to give like another layer of, you know, soil beneath this so it's just not one. So we'll have 3 layers. We'll have the concrete, we'll have a light layer of soil that's thin, and then a dark layer of mud and soil, I guess. So I'll just keep this on live or real time because it goes pretty quick. Do this. It's pretty bright, but I'm going to knock it down a little bit with that European mud so it's not so jarring. I'll give a nice transition to the layer below it. And this does dry down a little bit, not much. Hopefully this will get, this is what, it's going to look good when done. Once I blend this layer in, it'll look good. It's just pretty stark right now. Hopefully after this, don't want to say too loud, I may be done. I gotta paint the bottom of the base, I'll just do that black. Okay, so there's that, and now I'm gonna go back to the European mud again, which is that kind of the middle tone. So you can see it drying down here. As it dries down, it looks much better. But still, it's still a little stark. I'm gonna go back to this European mud. What you guys doing?
We're just reprinting the piece that got painted.
Oh.
Like during on the writing.
Oh, all right.
Some time.
Should be, the printer cord should be right there.
Oh yeah.
good right there. It's looking good. Now we're starting to look like dirt. I love it when things work. Yeah, my daughter's over here. Their friend doing a science experiment. That's due tomorrow.
Science fair.
Science
We
fair.
never had time to get together.
You guys have spent the night at each other's house for the past like 3 weekends. What were you
Well,
doing?
today we were gonna do today's all about the poster, and when we went to her house, it was just the experiment.
Oh, so you guys did work on it when you're over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, we did the
What about the weekend of Christmas when you guys spent the night, or when
Oh, we
Aline?
can blue light for that.
I'm sure. Yeah, this is looking good. Definitely does not look like an oatmeal cookie anymore.
Oh, real cookie. Oh,
What?
from here it does. From here, the side.
Don't even say that because I've spent 3 days working on this thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Wow.
It looked nothing like this when I started.
Oh,
It looked like a desert landscape, which was stupid.
oh. Yeah, that one.
Sanded the whole thing down, filled it 12 million times with body filler, made the cracks. My daughter and her friend are not impressed with my efforts or my work.
Hey, good. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one that got loose. It is? Yeah.
My client would not be happy. I would not be happy with you.
It's asleep, it says.
Okay, well, I don't know what to do. Push something on it.
Start pushing random buttons.
Okay, I think that's done. That looks really good, I think.
Whew.
It's a nice kind of 3-layer look. Concrete, and then 2 layers of soil.
Okay, hit print again.
Looks pretty convincing to me.
Okay.
So once this dries, I will seal this, and for me, I'm done. I have to send a picture of this to Sonu and see what he says, but I think it looks great. So until I hear from Sonu, we'll see what I need to do next. All right, so all is done. I have to paint the little gecko, which I'll do tonight, but Sonu approved the base and everything. It looks really, really good. It turned out pretty much exactly how I hoped it would. I'm real happy with it. So we got kind of like a concrete look on top, and I've got like 2 layers of soil represented on the bottom. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. So I will clean up my work area. Don't know if I'll be able to take final pics tonight. I have to clean this area up, and if I get done early enough to do that, I'll take photos tonight. But I'll do it, and once I get the lighting scenario set up, I'll do a video, like a final video, as far as like final thoughts and stuff on this guy. But yeah, I'm super happy with this project. I think he looks good. I think Sony will be happy to have him in his collection. So that's a long progress on this guy. 9 work in progresses. Yeah, I mean, I spent a solid week starting on, when did I start? I painted skin tones on Monday, New Year's Eve, I think it was. So yeah, it's been a solid week of painting, just to paint them, and to get the base done. The base, it took 3 days of that, so, but I'll talk about that more in the final video. But he's done. He looks awesome. I'm going to clean up now and try to get final pictures done today. If not today, definitely tomorrow. So thanks for following along. We'll catch you guys next time.